Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, from that break. We are live here at Stockholm at DreamHack with the clues, the poker qualifiers. My name is Semler. I'm here with Metas. And Metas, how you feeling after that first game?
I'm feeling good. I don't think it's any coincidence that it's currently late o'clock as well. So I think all the signs are there, man. That's how I'm feeling right now. I'm feeling good. And I think ROCCAT, even though they lost that first map, they can hold their heads high.
I agree, man. You know, if anybody's not feeling elite right now, it's Cloud9. Because they had to struggle in that first map. Like, going into that, it really did look like ROCCAT were the stronger team. Just a few slow rotations, a few missed calls on their part, really in key rounds. I think that's the main thing. What it boils down to is, you know, they were making solid calls, they were making solid plays, but when it came to crunch time in the big rounds, they just couldn't quite bring it together. And so Cloud9 were able to eke out a win. But even if it's cold here in Stockholm, Sonny bringing the heat. That man is a monster. I love it, man. On land, he's delivering. He's just putting up a great fight right now, a great show. And I think we have some stats to take a look at as well regarding Sonny. You know, because might be clouds outside, but the sun is always there, right, Metas?
It always is. Even if you can't see it, it's ever present. And he did.
It's kind of creepy, actually.
Yeah, in a sense, it's kind of got a stalker vibe, I guess.
Yeah, I know. Do you really want to Finn? You know, being constantly aware of what you're doing.
And a lot of his frags did come out of like pushing through smokes and stuff around the back of people. So I guess that also kind of highlights that. But as you can see, the guy's been the standout player, I would say, so far. Along with Stonda, I think Stonda's done a couple of pretty big things with the AWP as well. But Sonny, to me, stepped out. I think we saw him get 2 or 3 4Ks on that. So
it's basically like between him and Stonda, it feels like those are the two guys that are really rocking house right now. That are just doing the work. And what's fun is that, you know, he's got a 43% headshot ratio, but when it comes down to it, I think Skadoodle, his head is still ringing after that one shot on Cat.
Oh yeah.
Sonny's definitely given us some good, entertaining rounds, that's for sure. But Cloud9, you know, that's the thing, actually. You know, we're talking about Ska. Doesn't really feel like Ska's bringing the big plays right now that we kind of expect to see from him. But then, you know, of course, Cash is a really strong map for Skadoodle. Historically, he always seems to be able to get those frag rail moments on the map. So that's going to be the map that's coming up next. And I think it's going to be very interesting because there's a lot of freaky stuff you can do on this map in particular.
Yeah, I think basically what Sonny was doing so well in the last map and what I think Skadoodle needs to start doing in this one is impact frags. He was getting so many of them, and it started to turn the tides. And I guess Cloud9 at the end just about held their nerve and managed to pick up that. But there were 2 or 3 rounds that are right off the top of my head, including the nothing defuse in the 1v2. There were a couple more as well where I honestly think ROCCAT should have had those rounds, and if they did pick them up, we'd be looking at the reverse. It'd be like 16-14 for ROCCAT going into the second map. What I will say, though, is I highlighted this at the start, and I still feel this way. I think Dust 2 was ROCCAT's chance. Yeah. I don't see them having anywhere near the same level of potency or being able to get around the back of Cloud9 and dictate the pace of the action on Cash. I think Cash should be a lockout performance for C9.
Yeah, I agree, and I think they really wanted to dodge the chance of Cobble.
Yeah.
Because Cobble, it's a bit more of a tactical map, it seems, and well, Cloud9 have got a lot of experience on that map. They're very solid on it, so yeah, it's chances of an upset win here are definitely, I guess, receding here for ROCCAT. But, you know, we're not going to give up hope. I'm sure all the Finnish fans tuning into the stream right now, they certainly haven't. And after a performance like that on Dust 2, sure there were some hiccups, but ROCCAT's shown that they can definitely hang with North America's best, rather. Well, we go right into the pistol round here. ROCCAT will be starting on the T side this time around, Cloud9 on the CT side. So you might get the feeling that Cloud9 won the pistol here, or at least the knife round to determine these starting sides.
I've always felt on Cash, though, that it's not the end of the world, even if you do lose the knife, because T's can still rack up a bunch of rounds. They can still force their way through, as you're seeing here. But look at this quick rotation from Shroud around the back with the 5-7. And we'll lay down the law. The bomb is still going to get planted, though, for ROCCAT. That gives them a couple of bargaining chips in their favor. Xart is not going to be able to connect any dots, and that leaves Nasu by himself, and he will be put down. But still, that bomb plant, pretty decent, you know, significant for ROCCAT. And now we're going to see what we did last time on Dust 2, where they get the bomb plant, they go for the full Glock, and then AKs come into fruition.
I think that's going to be the call. I don't think there's any reason for them to change it up. I mean, they could be thinking that themselves, where it's like, okay, we did it last time, so maybe it's time to go for something a little bit more dicey, a little bit more ballsy. I mean, the Tech-9s, if you get onto that A site, the Tech-9s can be lethal because you can get those smokes down, you can get those flashes in, and just that split second allows you to close the gap to where you're getting one-shot headshots, right? So maybe we could see some kind of aggressive buy out of them, but it does seem like they're going to go for more of the bread and butter approach here. Glocks pretty much across the board, a single P250 picked up on Yuho, and they're going to be setting up for a very quick play into B site here, where Sean Gares is currently waiting with the M4, pretty much the best gun that he could hope to have in a situation like this.
Yeah, very much so. And they've also got the pop flash coming in as well, which is just about to land in the face of ROCCAT. There's the P90, nothing with 4 quick frags looking for his ace. And the last remaining player, Yoho, is just going to try and back himself off. Sean Gez was dropped from him, I believe. Yes, indeed, he was. And that's all that she wrote for ROCCAT. So, easy eco, nothing smile. Pretty much paints the full picture for you. P90 all day, every day.
It's a very good SMG. One thing to note is that out of the SMGs, this one is unique. You don't get $600 for a kill with the P90. You only get the 300. So don't think that he went and made massive cash there. He did get 4 kills, so he is obviously going to be getting, you know, a decent bit. But it's not the huge cash influx that you'd expect out of an SMG sprayed out like that.
And the cool thing about the P90 as well, from his perspective, is it's one of the few SMGs that I feel is still a viable choice when the AK-47s come through with the Kevlar as well. If you hold close angles, you can still rip players to shreds. MP7 not quite so much, so nothing is going to be getting himself picked off alongside Freakazoid. And that's unfortunate for Cloud9, but of course ROCCAT are making the most of that very aggressive push through from Cloud9. That could cost them big here, to be fair, as well. Like, Cloud9 going for that fast push. This could be ROCCAT picking up their first round.
All right, these are the situations where ROCCAT failed on Dust 2, where they didn't capitalize on. You know, they had man advantage, and then they would be slow on the uptake, or they would just take duels that they didn't need to, and Cloud9 would be able to claw their way back into the round. This is a round now that should be impossible for Cloud9 to win. ROCCAT, with a numerical advantage like this, they still have plenty of utility as well. They should be able to just gather up, group up, and execute onto a site, and that looks like what they've got in store for us here. Going out onto the A site, they've got Nasu waiting over in Squeak. He can take the peek at Ska. And they have all the nades necessary to make their lives easy getting onto this A site here.
Yeah, I completely agree. This should, on paper, be a clear-cut round to ROCCAT, but the P90 could be another nightmare for ROCCAT. This close-range Skadoodle using it in almost a perfect position, and there we go. He just peeks around the corner, gets it. A completely healthy Skadoodle still rushing through, picks himself up another frag, and from a 5-on-3, it's suddenly a 1v2 stacked against the Finns, and Xart is only on 44 HP. He's pushing onto the site. There's the second frag. 7 seconds on the timer, though, and he is going to be timed out. Very smart from Sean Gez. Just tucks his tail between his legs and sprints away. ROCCAT let another chance go begging. And Cloud9 will somehow get the 3-0.
And this is where you can see experience. Like, Cash is much more of a, you need to be tight on your executions. I mean, barring just huge plays from a player like Sunny, for example, who can just kind of like manhandle people, you need big plays. And you need to be really tight in there. And look at how they actually executed onto that site, ROCCAT. It was 1 man at a time. 1, 1, 1, 1. Like, no refrags. Nobody just stacked up one on top of the other. So it's like Ska gets the 1 kill, boom, you instantly take him out afterwards. There was none of that there for ROCCAT. They kind of just like skipped their way onto that site, and unfortunately that's not going to cut it. Cloud9, they have the fragging power in the Shroud and the Ska. You can't be giving them that kind of opportunity. And speaking of op, Ska's got it now, so this is going to get even more tricky here for ROCCAT.
It is, and just the 1 AK, which was on Exalt from the end there, as he tried to clutch out the round for his team. Nothing is going to be biding his time. Coming round the back, there's 2, looking for a 3rd, and he does connect all of them. Sunny, in turn, will bounce back with 2 frags of his own. At least he has a bit of Kevlar, so aim punch is not going to be too much of a deal, but the issue now is for him is he's being encircled, does do a lot of damage towards Freakazoid. But now all Cloud9 have to do is he's stuck in a corner, just wait.
Yeah, they don't need a face.
All the pressure is on the terrorist from this point of view.
They really don't need a face. For that reason. Can they even go and pick up Ska's op now? Hey, they might actually lose the op. This is a hugely expensive round for Cloud9 at this point. Yeah, Shirada's going to die. Can he actually make it, though, to get that AWP? That's a big save if he can do it. I would love to see it. You know, nothing is beautiful and everything, but, like, I would really, really love to see if he actually saved the op.
Only time will tell. There's the triple spray down from nothing from Checkered.
Okay, they didn't.
They didn't save it. So, yeah, I mean, that's economically damaging for Cloud9.
That was a hugely successful round for ROCCAT.
They'll take it, yeah.
That was so expensive for Cloud9. They lost the op on Ska as well. Like, that was a very good round for ROCCAT.
Because they only had 1 AK, right, that was saved. The rest of them only had, like, pistols.
Yeah.
So that was pretty huge. And yes, Cloud9, you look at the top of the scoreboard, their 4-0 up is looking good for them. But the issue is with their economy, if they lose 1 round, that could quickly become 2 or even 3. Such is the nature of CT side on Cash. So they have to be so careful here. And Ston, for the first time on this T side, is going to be rocking out the AWP on boost.
Yeah, we saw what Stonda was capable of on Dust 2. Very competent opper. He's opped plenty in the past as well. Even way back when he used to play with Alu, you know, like they would trade off on the opping duties. Like, Stonda is very capable. So now they're going to be looking for that peak in mid if they can find at Freakazoid his usual spot, playing in Z Connector here. Waiting to see if anybody's going to try and push through. Smoke is down. He's not going to peek before it, but now Shroud with the aggressive play into A main manages to pick off Sunny, and there's Shroud getting another one. Freakazoid even able to trade 1-for-1. This is a fantastic bounce back into the round here for Cloud9.
Yeah, just what they needed. And you saw them kind of give up mid as nothing peeks round, but there's Shroud from behind once more. It's going to all be on Exart, who was the only player who didn't have a AK in his hands, or at least an AWP. And here we go, he's going to be looking for that 1D, can't land it, he gets shut down. And you saw that ROCCAT got a lot of ground through mid, but it was the Shroud push through main that just stopped them in their tracks, because then they have to be worried, is he coming up from behind? They started to slow down, they couldn't execute through highway, which is I think what they initially wanted to do. And they just got choked out, like straight up. Cloud9 has a really solid round for them.
Yeah, no, that's the kind of stuff that Cloud9 are going to be capable of on Cash. It's really going to take something random, I think, like either a player going big, or just a random, like, you know, push onto a site that catches Cloud9 off guard, something along those lines. Because if it gets down to, if it gets down to the nitty-gritty where Cloud9 can slow down the pace, start sussing out what ROCCAT have going for them, I really see the Finns struggling in this situation, in that kind of situation, rather.
That's kind of what we were alluding to earlier, is that Cash is going to be a much more difficult nut for them to crack. You know, coming through here, and we're already seeing they're running into a couple of roadblocks. They've had opportunities though. That's been the issue, I suppose, for Cloud9, because going through towards the latter stage of this tournament, of course, it's going to seem like forever in the future. But if they make mistakes like this against the likes of Mouse Sports, they could be completely punished. But that being said, as far as it's concerned in this round, all is good for Cloud9. It's a 3-on-1, and Sunny's only on 19 hit points, and he's about to get found out from Shroud. Or maybe not. Maybe he's going to pick up a couple more kills now. There's Freakazoid point blank, and Cloud9's continual victories continue here as they've gone to 6-0, I believe it is now. Just pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah, they're kind of just going to start walking their way through here. This is a map where also we should see a much closer scoreline. Like 9-6 should be as wide apart as it gets. If you get into like 10-5 territory, that's where you really screwed up your first half if you're ROCCAT. So they need to really start getting some rounds on the board right now. If Cloud9 get up to 9 rounds right at the beginning, that's just not acceptable for ROCCAT. So all the pressure now on the Finnish lineup to get something done. They get a full buy after that round of eco, so now they have everything they need. Like Cloud9, I like this mid control, aggressive mid control from them. In fact, they're not even going to give ROCCAT the space to breathe.
It's really cool to see how they've changed things up, because before they were giving up mid completely, but they were pushing through main, they were pushing through B as well. So to see them now go aggressive through mid and kind of give up the main control, as we're now seeing ROCCAT going in there, that's cool. It keeps ROCCAT on their tiptoes, and they can't take anything for granted. So Cloud9 playing the mind game, so they have lost the first player in this round. So again, ROCCAT have a chance to save that, and 2 quick-fire frags for Cloud9 put them down once more. And they pretty much have to go for this A play now. Well, maybe not, actually. They've got 50 seconds. They could just maneuver themselves round into mid if they want to.
I'm thinking they want to head towards B. Just because, okay, they set it up with the smoke onto A to try and keep some players over there for Cloud9, but there should be less defense over on the B site, and that's where I think they're going to start heading over there, bringing the bomb. They're going to have the follow-up as well, and Nasu, he's going to have the back there of Sunny, but the two of these guys have to do big damage right away. They need to just clear out Freakazoid immediately. The more time that Freakazoid can buy for the rotation in from Shroud, the more difficult it gets here for the Finns.
You can see that Shroud has made a lot of ground as well, as has nothing through mid. There's still a player. It's going to be Stond in mid, but Freakazoid comes in, very nearly 2 frags. 8 seconds left on the timer. Nasu is so low on HP, 5 seconds. He needs to get that bomb planted. He's just about got it in the nick of time. And now the next issue comes. X-Hurdle is this, a 2-on-2 retake. And Nasu is very low, but so is Shroud. This is another huge round for ROCCAT. They need this if they're going to start to bounce back.
This is really where it starts to get very tricky, and there it is. Peek out from Stonda, takes out Sean. Shroud attempting the wall make it look like? And yeah, no joy for him. He's actually going to have to back off here. Had me worried there for a moment there, ROCCAT, with how slow they were setting up that B-side take. Freakazoid even able to pick up the 1 kill, but they get the job done in the end, and ROCCAT, they should both be able to survive this. Nasu may be just a bit too close. No, he's just out of range there, so. Whew, yeah, man, deep sigh of relief, I think, for ROCCAT that they actually managed to hold on to that site. And Stana with the big play. That kill on Ashawn Gears was key.
Yeah, very well played as well. They kept a player in mid, knowing that the rotation would come through there. They didn't want to be too one-dimensional. Cloud9 sent all their players through CT side, so very smart play from ROCCAT. And yeah, 6-1, still not a fantastic scoreline for them, but at least this gives them some building blocks, I should say, to start to work off. And there we go again. It's that man Stonda, one of the standout players for ROCCAT, that's going to open up their account here in round number 8.
A kill like that is definitely going to make life easier, that's for sure. That opens up mid as well. If they wanted to speed up into it, they could have taken control of mid, given themselves some more options, ROCCAT. But right now, at least, they're still kind of... Well, actually... Did they decide to rotate into mid now?
I think the problem for the CTs on Cash is if you lose the first player in mid, it forces one of the sites to become weaker as a result. We could see there that Shroud instantly rotating off quad through onto highway, and now they have 2 players in mid. So in doing that, they're moving that second player off B, and it's effectively now a 4 versus 1 if they push through right here, right now, onto Sean Gez. And he kind of knows this. His spidey senses are tingling. He's going to throw that smoke. It does stop this push. That's so smart from him, but he could get caught out with a flashbang. No, he's not. Here comes the retaliation push, and he doesn't get a frag either, so that's huge for ROCCAT. Only 1 player remains. That's nothing, but way too many angles for him to cover. And this has gone from being a pretty bad round for Cloud9 to an absolutely horrific one. It's all on Skadoodle, and they know exactly where he is.
Yeah, they've got him boxed in as well, because look at this, Yuho, right behind him. And okay, then Stonda. Okay. Yeah. I mean, what's interesting is that they're just so straightforward, actually. ROCCAT. They don't go for like B split pushes or anything of the sort. Like, it doesn't really seem like they're a big fan of splits. They go up to A sometimes with the speedway push, right? But going on to B site, like we haven't seen them going through vents pretty much once right now. Like, even when they could potentially take over mid, getting that initial kill off a Freakazoid, like, you know what? Now we're just gonna go through the main entrance and just bully our way into that site, right? So Sean just a split second too late with that flash. We saw it go past the shoulders of the initial ROCCAT push, and so, you know, he just gets completely overwhelmed. And from there on out, ROCCAT, that's the thing, it's just no fear at that point. You run in, you get the job done.
Here comes the boost up from Cloud9, though, trying to catch ROCCAT, and they know this. They've already read the script, they have a player there, wasn't able to get the frag. But now Sunny's pushing in through mid, need to get this kill. He's not going to get it either, he gets forced in, finally gets himself 1 and a second frag. He's an anti-eco, though, so can't get too carried away. ROCCAT
showing his fangs.
Yeah, definitely.
Because, you know, he's an Eco Cobra, right?
Well, is he going to get any more frags here, though? That's the question now. ROCCAT should definitely have this round, but then again, we've said that before in the past, and look what happened. It all came tumbling down. Yeah,
and I mean, you still got Freak with that CZ75. He's playing on the site itself. He's assigned to Force, actually. He's assigned to Punt. I mean, this could get a little tricky here for Freak. Holding a nice angle, but now they know exactly where he's playing from. Still, wow. He nearly takes out 2. Yuho just down to 12 HP as well. CZ75 is so scary. And they're actually making this fairly expensive here. Nothing. Looking to try and deny the plant, but it's not going to be necessary in the end. He gets shut down. But now we actually have ROCCAT starting to chain together some rounds. This is where it gets interesting. Right where they start dancing on the edge of completely losing control of the first half, they manage to come back into this and make it interesting.
Absolutely. Cloud9 will be able to buy up here, as that was a full eco in terms of no Kevlar thrown in for good measure, but it's not going to be a fantastic full buy without an AWP, without defuse kits again.
Yeah, Skadoodle, I mean...
He's having a bit of a quiet game, I think it's safe to say.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, really, he just... they feels to... Oh, whoa, that is sexy. The run boost up, unfortunately for Shroud, it doesn't work, but that was so sick.
Right into the embracing arms of Yuhu.
Yeah, but they're doing a very good job of just hanging back ROCCAT. Now that they can feel that Cloud9 are starting to feel the pressure a little bit. They know that Cloud9, they're not going to be full equipped. They're just taking their time. They're even going for boosts up on a red existence. You know, he's looking at this. He's like, very good, boys, very good. This is what he used to like to do. But I mean, it's just super defensive at the start, make Cloud9 nervous, and then go off the play or go off the pick like they just got there with Shroud.
I think this is even more of a pretty sick call from ROCCAT, knowing that the likelihood is with the full buy coming from Cloud9 that they would be lacking a bit of utility, that they would be lacking some defuse kits, and trying to expend that utility, and then with like 30, 35 seconds to go, start to push in, knowing that there's going to be a lack of a shield, a blanket, if you will, from Cloud9 to stop the push, and that's pretty much what's happening here. Sunny, finally, they have utilized the vents, and they do reap the rewards as well, and the benefits. Nothing is going to be coming through. Has picked himself up another frag, but of course they know exactly where he is, and they're about to conquer line their way to victory. And here come the frags, thick and fast for ROCCAT. They line up for Skadoodle, and I was thinking just for a second there, surely not the 3-man. It was so close, though.
I do like that, though. Even if they do line up in the end where they kind of get tight clumped, still, it's just like, look at that. Nothing. He doesn't see anybody. He peeks. Boom, 3 guns facing him, right? Like, you're going to die. There's nothing you can do there. So we really do see ROCCAT coming back into this half in a big way. Right when they was just on the brink of starting to completely fall apart for them, they force a second eco out of Cloud9. Cloud9 now, even after this eco, they might be hard-pressed to get the full buy. Well, let's not go ahead and make it too easy for them here, guys. Like,
let's stab each other in the back.
Yeah, don't get too excited now.
And that was the problem they had earlier, right? When they should have won that round, I think it was like 4 or 5. And it was a 5v3, they pushed onto A, they didn't push together, and they started to die one by one. So it's good to see them realizing that mistake and rectifying it.
Just get on each other's butts. Just don't let there be too much of a gap. Because you need to be able to refrag effectively. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And they're doing a very good job right now of just making use of their economic superiority, right? You know, ROCCAT, they can afford all the Molotovs, the flashes, the smokes, everything. So what are they doing? They're just chucking them all over the place, making sure that Cloud9, they can't really hide anywhere. And we saw that, you know, much to Freakazoid's dismay. Sandbags in mid, he got caught. Shroud, though, doing a good job. Skadoodle is there. Sean not going to be able to pick up a kill, and that's actually calamitous. Because now Shroud, he's literally getting locked out of his own sight.
Shut down out of his own house.
His job, he isn't even looking for the frag. His job is literally to close that door in his face.
The troll moves are real, but this is a fantastic little mini comeback as well from ROCCAT. They were 6-0 behind.
I think we can call this a full comeback.
Yeah.
I think we can go that far. Like 6-0, and now they managed to put 5 rounds on the board. That's really solid work.
As I said before, like dancing on the outskirts of a potential just a landslide loss, and suddenly they're right back into this one. All the pressure on Cloud9. They've gone for a double AWP as well.
Yeah, here we go.
So a lot of funds put into this round.
Well, this is the big round. This is it right here, the big round, and they're going for even more aggression here. Double push into Squeak. Nasu takes the one. Oh no, Nasu takes both. Oh, that's a bad play. Cloud9. They're going to be hurting after that one. Skadoodle forced off. No, that's Freakazoid. He goes in, but that's not good enough because Sunny's there for the refrag. Oh, this is big. Complete and utter devastation. Cloud9 just gets slaughtered.
Double AWP pickup, and they only get 1 frag in this entire round.
They go for the ultra aggression, but Nasu, and we've been kind of disregarding Nasu, honestly, but I mean, he's got 5 frags. He was sitting on 3 frags before. Nothing went his way on Dust 2 either. He just kept catching bullets to the face, so we really haven't been able to see much from Nasu. But talk about a crucial play. That could be like the play of the map right there. A double kill into Squeak completely opens up the defense. I mean, that was huge. Talk about a good time to come through.
And let's mention Sunny as well, by the way. 15 frags.
Yeah, Sunny just continues to be like the all-star here.
And if memory serves me correctly, as we're seeing Sean
can't even save the AWP.
Yeah.
Why does he go for the peek?
And
huge mistake.
It was Sunny that came in to replace Joel's, right? I'm pretty sure it was. So if it's Sunny that stepped in to have...
Why am I blanking on that?
To have a guy of his caliber like step in and drop consistent frags against Cloud9, that is amazing.
You know, yeah, that's... Joel's, you know, he needed to make sure that the meat didn't burn, right?
I think ROCCAT will be pretty happy with this straight off the way that Sunny's been doing so far.
Dude, Sunny is a monster. I think it was Sunny and Stonda initially to come in though. But regardless, Skadoodle going to get completely overwhelmed in mid. Sunny with the run and gun just continues his reign of dominance on this map. And in this matchup, ROCCAT up to 6 rounds, and now they could be even looking to go further here. Freakazoid decides to actually take the fight though in mid. I mean, they need to bring it back somehow.
They certainly do, because now it's starting to slip away from Cloud9.
Boom, sit down.
Freakazoid can't get anything done. Did catch 2 players unaware. There's a flashbang in as well. ROCCAT still yet to lose a single player here in round 13. 2 FAMASs and an M4. Just a couple of HEs with a smoke as well. No defuse kits for Cloud9. But we've been in this position before in a 5v3. And Cloud9 somehow escaped.
Yep. I like that Stonda's actually got his Twitter handle on his op as well. Be sure to go and check him out. Stonda CSGO.
Could be picking up quite a few new fans off these games.
Damn well better. He's doing some good work right now.
Been solid. And this time ROCCAT in the 5v3 elect to go onto the B site. Last time it was A that proved to be so devastating for them. And Exarta is going to be coming through onto the CT side. Cloud9 do not seem too interested in retaking this site. Just wanted to save themselves the FAMASs.
When do we get the shots now? Because they've already got exactly. Yuho closing in. Sean Gares, not long for this world. He's gone. No second rifle saved. And they're being so thorough about this ROCCAT as well. Yuho's like, okay, I got 9 HP. Change it up, back it out. Wait for the rotation to come in, perhaps. They really are checking to see where this guy is hiding. If they can take the FAMAS off a Shroud, that'd be a pretty nice play. And yeah, they actually spot him, and Sunny's close enough to get the kill. Very well done by ROCCAT.
7 consecutive rounds now to ROCCAT.
Talk about a complete and utter, like, failure to adapt on Cloud9's side. They're just falling apart.
Yeah, they really are. I'd like to see them try something different here. Like, I'm not entirely sure what their economy's like right now. I feel like we could see, yeah, I was going to say maybe a Force Fire or at least pistols, and that's pretty much what we're seeing.
Yeah.
And last time that they started doing this, though, this is when ROCCAT started to play really slow and safe. Nothing! He's going to get his second Zeus kill of the matchup. And that's going to be a bit of an awkward situation for ROCCAT as they've lost their second player as well. Sean Gez relocating onto the site. Meanwhile, nothing drops down in the vents, picks up the AK-47 off the corpse of ROCCAT players. And still Cloud9 reassume their player advantage, make it 2. Sunny has bounced back, a 1v2. This is still far from over. No Kevlar on the side of Cloud9. The spray is in effect. 1 HP for Sunny. Surely he can't pull this one off. He's peeking round the side, and he gets the frag onto Sean Gez as well. Unbelievable. And ROCCAT with 8 rounds in a row.
What a comeback. What a comeback. But really, sorry, Valve. But that Zeus has nothing, like, should not be in a pro game. Like, get rid of it, please. Like, $100, sure. Put it in casual, sure. But don't put it in don't make it available for that price in a pro game. Because you're just talking about a guy who made a $100 investment, kill in one shot a guy who's invested at least $3,700 to $4,500 in the round. That's ludicrous. That is so absolutely stupid.
Especially in eco rounds like that when you're wanting to play
dumb.
aggressive.
It is, like, beyond dumb. Like, you know, that is really, really, really whole new level of dumb. Alright, come on. It's bad enough with the pistols. Let's not have a Zeus in here.
Quad AWPs, by the way, as well. 2 apiece. And why the hell not, I suppose, in the last round of this half. ROCCAT, who seemed like they were circling the drain, suddenly have themselves 8 rounds on the board. And because of it being the last round, and because ROCCAT have accumulated so much funds for themselves, they trade off the AWP. They wanted that fast peak. They trade the AWP for the AK-47. They can just bounce back even harder now. 55 seconds left on the time, and nobody's fallen. This is a crucial round for Cloud9. I have to feel like there's a lot more pressure on their shoulders than ROCCAT.
Yeah, no, it's all on Cloud9 now. If ROCCAT takes 9 rounds, it's still a somewhat CC-sided map, but to take 9 rounds, that would be just them flat out winning this half. You expect to see 8-7. You honestly expect to see 8-7 favoring the CT side. So that would be a very good start. And Nasu opening it up. He's starting to feel it. Freakazoid gets caught, but it's a 2-for-2 trade going on to the A site. The bomb is here, so they're going to be able to plant it very quickly here on ROCCAT's side. That's so important now. Every second is vital. And Skadoodle taking point, just running in.
Still 2 AWPs in a retake scenario. This not fantastic for Cloud9, honestly. If ROCCAT just play this one passive, as we know they're capable of doing, this should be theirs. The Molotov is going to force them out of position, and that will be into the crosshairs of Nothing, who's picked up his second frag and a third as well. And I was thinking in that double up, you know, this could be ROCCAT taking the 9-6, but Nothing steps up to the plate and delivers again.
Yeah, that one rifle making all the difference right there. The Molotov as well.
Yeah,
so,
huge.
Well played there by Cloud9 with the retake, and yeah, that's going to put it 8-7, going ROCCAT's way still with the advantage. But 8-7 nonetheless, and talk about a complete and utter comeback coming in from ROCCAT. 6 up, 6-0 for Cloud9. You're thinking, okay, this is where maybe ROCCAT pick up a round, but the Cloud9 come right back into it. You can see one of those just devastating scorelines right off the start. But ROCCAT really made a half out of that, and now all the pressure's on Cloud9 going into their T side. Now we have to see if Nasu can continue this form that he's found all of a sudden, where he's starting to land some good shots. And if they can actually lock down on the CT side, because on the Dust 2 side, CT, they did look a little awkward, you got to say, for ROCCAT. Like they looked like they were hesitating a little bit on the calls that needed to be made on the rotation. So we have to see if they're going to be a little bit more decisive here. And, well, to start, 3 over on B. You know, if Cloud9 were going to go for a rush kind of play to start things off, ROCCAT would have been prepared for it. They're going for the standard. Actually, this is very standard stuff from ROCCAT. 3 over on B, 1 in mid, and 1 holding back at truck on CT. They're playing a retake at this point.
Yeah, that's exactly it. If the B push comes in from Cloud9, you can connect bullets to faces. If not, you can just rotate yourself back onto the site. Oh, XR should have had that kill. He had everything going for him, but Shroud just spins around and headshots him. And in doing so, that puts so much pressure on Sunny. The drive-by headshot from Cloud9 has been finished off from Freakazoid. And I gotta say, Exart, if he connects that shot, things could have been so different.
Yeah, the fact that it's a 1-for-1 for Shroud there, that's huge. And well, just also so impressive on Cloud9's part. They actually walk into the stack. They're so stubborn that they actually make it work. And now, well, they're actually gonna save. And this isn't a bad call to make either. 2 on 4, it's never gonna happen. So you might as well save the kit and the Kevlar for the next round.
Exactly, yeah. Because then if you want to maybe even force, from ROCCAT's perspective, I'm not entirely sure what their mentality will be here, but if they force, then that's going to be a lack of aim punch, you know, onto stun, potentially.
Yep.
And of course, that defuse kit's always really important to have. So yeah, I completely agree with you. That 4v2 retake, unlikely that you're going to get anything done now. Even if you get a couple frags, no problem. Cloud9 can buy back up without too many issues. So let's see what the Finns are going to go for here. Shroud seems deep in thought there.
If they're going to go for the... I mean, we're hearing something purchased, but not quite sure who's doing the purchasing. Yeah, it is going to be a force buy out of ROCCAT. Okay, then. But then for Stonda, I mean, this really works out for Stonda as well, because he's got the benefit of Kevlar this round. He's only made the single investment. Now he's going to save hard here in this round. Rather than forcing up and spending money, he's going to get out of this round with 1,500, go into the next, which should be a hard eco for his team, and then he'll have the op in the buy round. So this works out just fine for Stonda.
I was just curious if someone would drop him across a pistol, because with him playing so well, I'd almost like to see him with one of the 5.7s. I feel like he could probably wreck some faces, you know?
True.
So instead of having USP, I mean, USP's a decent pistol up against no Kevlar, but when you got full Kevlar from Cloud9, I mean, that USP is just not going to be doing the same level of damage as a 5.7 is. But hey, maybe there's a reason for this, practicing this.
Well, I mean, one thing that we noticed is that ROCCAT have a soul. Not a single Zeus picked up.
Nothing's got bagged himself 2 frags with that, I was going to say monstrosity, maybe that's a bit too far.
I'd go so far as to say
it. It's pretty terrible, though. I fully agree with you. You can see, though, that Cloud9 are going to be forcing their way onto the site. This should be easy peasy, and Nothing is going to land himself a shot. There's Freakazoid onto headshot, onto stun. And, well, Cloud9 are going to reassume their round lead here, and will be 9-8 ahead. CZ Kevlar, I think he wants to try and pick himself up a frag and try and retreat from this, but the fact of the matter is he's now been locked off onto the side. There is a defuse kit right next to him, but he's going to go for the frag instead. He's picked himself up 2 frags.
Oh, the timing of that flash was so unfortunate. He might have been able to pick up a second one there.
I admire his bravery. I admire that he wanted to take a few players down with him.
Yeah.
Instead of just backing away and getting caught in the backside.
Well, all right, now we're starting to get towards interesting times. We should have another round of eco here from ROCCAT, so maybe a stack, maybe a YOLO rush out of them. I mean, hard eco from them, no surprise there. And yeah, stack on B. Might just run straight into the tunnels, get this over with quick. Yeah, there it is, the peek, the walk in. The only man who's going to be at risk here is Nothing, but he's already out in mid. Rest of his teammates will have spotted that A is clear by now.
I wonder if hearing those 2 vents shatter is going to force ROCCAT to back away and try and pick up the frag onto Nothing now. They're still keeping with their initial tactic, and that's to come through, and it's going to be Nothing. Oh, he turns around! That's going to be his life lost! And if nothing else, ROCCAT will be able to salvage a Galil out of this round. So that in itself is almost a mini victory for ROCCAT. They weren't expecting to get anything from this, and suddenly they've got an assault rifle. I
mean, 2020 hindsight, right? But like, you're leaving the guy with the rifle alone? Why not put one of them MP7s out there? A gun that you're really not going to care about losing. I mean, a Galil as well, it's only 2,000, sure, but still a rifle that could be saved and used here by ROCCAT for free.
Yeah, especially when you consider the angle that he was playing as well. It's like mid to close range and vents.
No reason to peek here for ROCCAT either. There's going to be hoping to get some exits. Doing some damage, trying to dink somebody up, trying to keep him close enough for that bomb to go up and perhaps kill somebody off. I mean, they will be able to get the kill with Sunny. That's well done. And he holds onto the gun as well. So, yeah, solid work in the end. They managed to save 2 AKs there, Cloud9. They get the round. I think that's the most important thing for them at this point, though. They just need to get that strong start and close out this map solid. Get that 2-0 win.
So, 2 rounds in the making. Finally, Stun has his AWP. That's the reason why we saw him having the Kevlar earlier on and not upgrading to a weapon. And let's see if those 2 rounds of patience is going to pay off for him. No boost so far for Cloud9, so he's not going to get any action as of yet. Here comes the push from Cloud9. It's going to be through mid and B respectively. ROCCAT are going to have to try and hold their nerve here. Exot again in no man's land has just got way too many terrorists firing on his location, and it seems like that rocky, shaky CT side is coming back to haunt them here on Cash as well. 2 players falling in the drop of a hat, and they have to just save. And the Cloud9 again get themselves on the board.
They're so effective. They're so aggressive right now, Cloud9. Not getting any respect. Nothing catches Nasru out. There's the Galil returned. You can pick that up if you want. Nothing in Shroud, man. They're really doing good work right now as far as the frags are concerned. No surprise to see Sunny sitting at the top of the board for ROCCAT. He really is proving to be like the top dog on that team as far as frags. But just such quick aggression, I think that just really caught ROCCAT off guard. Quick aggression into the B halls, ineffective smokes as well. Cloud9 were able to find gaps in the smoke to exploit, and so it makes it really difficult to hold. Unless you have both players there just holding right in the entrance, where you can set up a crossfire point blank. I mean, 2-to-1, it's not going to be good enough. And Stonda, he's making it expensive for Cloud9 at least. Should be able to save, yeah, and he holds on to his, he holds on to the AWP, so really solid work.
Yeah, I suppose the kind of slight downside on that though is that Cloud9 have so much money to spend that it's not the end of the world, but I think it's more important for ROCCAT that they managed to save that up.
Absolutely.
You know, so they can keep this one going forward now. You can see there, look at that, Sunny on 22 frags, nearest player is Yuhu with 12.
Yeah, it's massive underperformance right now on ROCCAT's side.
He's top fragging on the entire server by 5 kills as well, even if you include Cloud9 and Freakazoid. Maybe that's where the confidence kind of comes back to bite him in the rear end there, pushing through by himself. They did have a boost up, but the cohesion not quite on point, and ROCCAT have got themselves a player advantage here in round number 20.
Yeah, they don't need to take any risks right now. They've got that man advantage. They're very light on utility. That's one thing to take note of here, that they only have 2 flashes left, but that man advantage should be enough to work with. There's the peek from Ska into mid. Looking up Speedway towards that A site, trying to get an idea, trying to figure out where ROCCAT are set up, but it is going to be Cloud9 making a predictable decision, going towards that B site where there might only be the 1 player. There it is, flash in, shots, and right into the headshot. So well done by Cloud9, keeping their cool.
Your executions onto these sites, man, is formidable.
But yeah, it's like Dust 2 is, at least from what we've seen recently, is that, you know, Dust 2 is not a fun playground for Cloud9. Like, there's a lot of glass in the sand. They keep getting cut. You know, it's just a horrible time, right? But Cash is a solid map for Cloud9, and this is their pick as well. We have to remind people that Dust 2 was ROCCAT's pick, and Cloud9 they wanted Cash, and we can see why.
It seems to me, though, that maybe their CT side is the side that needs a bit of work done to it, because they lost so many rounds in a row.
Well, it seems like across the board right now for all the maps, like Cloud9, it's like their T side is great because they have, you know, Freakazoid to just go YOLOing in there, Shroud is there to follow him up. Like, those 2 guys working in tandem, it's doing really good work for Cloud9. But yeah, the CT side does seem to be the weaker side across the board right now for the North Americans.
Just a very relaxed atmosphere from nothing. You expect nothing less, I suppose, though.
Yeah.
Such a chill player. 12-8 ahead. His team's starting to find some form here. ROCCAT seem kind of unsure how to repel these pushes. I mean, the executions, they've done it on both sides, but I feel like B is definitely the weaker of these sides from ROCCAT's perspective. Like, they're just being crushed here. They're getting mid-control most rounds as well, Cloud9, and they're making the most of it. Here comes another push onto B side, and looks like it's only going to be Sunny who's here. Actually, they have 2 players there, I believe. No. Just waiting with his pop flash.
But we have the aggression. We have the aggression from ROCCAT. It's just on the wrong site. I mean, they're getting the info, but now they know, right? By the time they find it out, Yuho pushes out through Squeak. Cloud9 are already pushing onto the B site, so this info does nothing for ROCCAT, where, you know, they would have time to rotate in and take advantage of it. Cloud9 aren't even giving them the time for that. They're already out onto the B site. They've got the bomb plant, and now in a 4-on-4 retake scenario here for ROCCAT, it's just not looking healthy enough. It's very cool by Cloud9 because they're just so fast on the execute at this point. ROCCAT could potentially be feeling good about getting a man in there, being like, yeah, there's nobody on A, this is great, right? But then it's just like, oh, well, you know, they're already on B, so...
And we're seeing some of the Achilles heel as well from ROCCAT, I think, because in the first 6 rounds where Cloud9 went 6-0 up on their CT side, this ROCCAT were pushing aggressively and they were just getting battered. They started to pick up rounds when they were camping back, and Cloud9 were aggressing on them and getting picked off from the likes of Van, up on Boost, back in Warehouse, these kind of places. So I feel like maybe just the all-out aggression from the likes of Freakazoid is just way too much for ROCCAT to deal with.
Okay. I think I can read lips. I think Shongare said B.
Ooh. Can you read lips? Let's find out. It's still possible. He could go for a delayed B hit, maybe. It looks like it's going to be a set play on way, though.
Yeah, this is all a fake. This is all a fake. This is just to draw the attention over to the A site, and then Cloud9, you know, they're going to work their way over towards B. See? Because look at that. Nothing. Nothing. Well, okay. That kind of screws everything up. Thank you, Shroud.
Goodness. Shroud with 2 sick entry frags there. Just headshots across the board. And, well, if they're hoping for that fake onto the B, they simply don't need it anymore with those 2 frags. That's going to put ROCCAT at a 14-8 deficit unless they go in for this and pull off something miraculous. Instead, they're going to save a massive lead now for Cloud9. And ROCCAT's woes continue. They've just been outclassed here on Cash. I mean, I'd be very interested to hear what the analysis desk has to say about this Cash performance.
Yeah. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot to be said, though.
It's just kind of like Cloud9 showing up and ROCCAT don't know how to hang with them.
I think that's it. It's because you're seeing a lot of just individual performance. It's individual aim that's making the difference. You can't afford, at this level, you can't afford to have just one guy doing the killing. Unless that guy's like Shox or something.
Yeah.
You know, but even Shox, you know, we learned at the majors last time around, you know, Shox has that kind of play, but then he doesn't have anybody to back him up. It's a bit similar right now. Sunny, he's playing lights out, but I mean, you can't have a 10 frag difference between the top fragger on the team and the runner-up, right? You really do need, like on Cloud9 right now, where there's like 2 or 3 guys sitting fairly close together. Yeah, it's just not everybody is hitting shots on ROCCAT. 14, I mean, 25, there's 11 frags between Sunny and the runner-up. That just can't happen. And
even though his team's 6 rounds behind, he's still top frag.
And now they just lost Sunny as well.
And they've lost the talisman.
That could be what's happening as well. Is then, you know, Sunny feels like he has to take more risks. He has to try and be the one, you know, to just, you know, it's leg day, bros, you know, just like carry everybody on his shoulders. But because he's feeling that additional pressure, Cloud9 are just going to slap him around.
Kind of very reminiscent of Kenny S, you know, back in the day, firing all
but Kenny S was like godlike. There's no comparing Kenny S to anybody at that point. Like, he was unique.
Yeah.
He was definitely a snowflake.
I mean, like in the respect of maybe too much pressure on his shoulders and not being able to carry like 4 people all the time on his back. But Sunny, the fact that he dies first, I mean, it doesn't really bode too well for ROCCAT, but they are still in this round, you know, all things considered. Both the players on Cloud9 are very low. An AWP and a Scout on the retake. Not a huge fan of this, but the flashes could still prove to be pretty huge. They both come up the catwalk, and Shroud is there with the AK-47. Has the pixel perfect crosshair placement, and that leaves Stond all by himself. He doesn't fancy this, wants to save the AK, maybe play for the overtime.
Painful that he can't even save an AWP right now for Stonda.
That must be very, very difficult for him to do. You know, knowing that you're going to be 15-8 behind.
Yeah, at this point, you need 7 rounds in a row. And, well, they did it in the first half. So, you know, always possible. Can't count them out just yet, ROCCAT. But it is definitely a huge advantage now for Cloud9 to just lock this down 2-0. I mean, Dust 2 really was the danger zone. And Cloud9, they managed to dodge that, so it won't be going to Cobblestone. It should be wrapping up here. There's very, very low chance of ROCCAT being able to fight back in this kind of situation.
And I feel like a lot of the teams, if they're watching this right now, may fancy their chances on Dust 2 against Cloud9. I just wonder if Cloud9 may go for a ban sometime in the future on that map. Depending if they're playing against the likes of Mousesports, for example, who are pretty solid on that map themselves.
Oh,
either way,
Jesus,
Shroud, though, like, first kill was good. Second one, not quite up there, but it looks like the rest of his team's doing the work. I say that, but there is Sunny again from Highway. Gives his team the player advantage. He's hungry for more. We've already seen him bag himself a couple of 4Ks already, but he gets shut down with authority from Skadoodle's AWP. And that leaves us with Exarch and Stond, all that remains for the Finns.
What is Skadoodle Judge Dredd now? I am the law. I mean, that was pretty brutal. I could picture Scott as the judge right there.
I would pay to see that movie.
Oh, dude, that movie is so sick, so underrated.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, nothing. It's not going to happen this time, but the law is here, and the law does not miss. Picks up one. He's going to be playing for the second, and he's going to get it done. Scott, that's the kind of performance we're looking at for Skadoodle. He's going to deliver once again, and that is going to be a 2-0 win for Cloud9. I don't think it comes as a huge shock for anybody. In the end, the analysts, you know, they can get something right every now and again. So 2-0, and well, very straightforward stuff. But Metas, I think that was a good game to get us started off here at the qualifiers, and now we get to hear exactly what the desk has to say about it. So guys, take it away. Let's hear it.
Well, Semler already cutting into our desk. It's my first time hosting. This desk is going to be perfect, Semler. I'm telling you right now, there will be no mistakes. I mean, look how fast we went through the schedule last time. No Richard and Thorin to distract us. Yeah. It almost felt a little weird, if I'm honest. That said, it was the 2-0, but not quite in the same fashion we might have expected it. Dust, too. That was a very impressive game from the Finnish side.
Yeah, I felt like that's the one they should have won. They just mocked up a lot of stupid rounds. The one where nothing was able to defuse the bomb comes into mind. Another one where it was like, what, 2-on-4 or something like that that they lost. So I guess it's one of those things where you're a mixed team and those kind of mistakes are bound to happen. But at the same time, it has to be said, especially early on Cash, Cloud9 was not on point. They had a lot of communication issues as well. Yeah. So it was a I guess the scoreline is a bit of a contribution of both those factors.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Dust 2, it's also like first game of the day for them as well. You know, maybe a bit too relaxed for their own good, and I felt that it was ROCCAT's game to lose at one point, you know, and unfortunately they did lose it in the end. Like you could see, like in the last round, in the 30th round, they slowed it down. Like it happened before in the T-half as well, and they instantly lose the round whenever they slow it because their coordination is not on point for that B split they try to take, you know, so.
Yeah, we'll get into more detail about it as well, but we've got an interview ready actually with Sean Gers, the leader of Cloud9. Of course, to do that, it is our new boy again, Paula, joining us for the second week.
Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, I'm here with Sean. Congratulations on that first win. And so I've got a couple questions. That first map was relatively close at the start. You know, run me through that.
Yeah, I mean, we had some weird, like, communication issues throughout the whole match that we typically don't have, actually. That was so weird for us to have problems like that. We haven't run into that. We bounced back, though, so that's all that matters.
Were you surprised by the way ROCCAT played, the skill level of them? They had some amazing kind of moments. Sunny was really, really going off.
Yeah, they did a great job of, like, seesawing between the sites on both maps. Really, like, pushing areas and then ending up going completely somewhere else, which is what I was referring to with, like, our communication errors is we didn't do a very good job, in my opinion, of like calling numbers like we typically do. And yeah, their strats worked great because of that.
Yeah, I mean, you're known as a bit of a mastermind, someone that watches a lot of demos and has great knowledge of the game, of course. Did you have that same sort of knowledge coming in against them, or were you not able to access as many demos, or did you, but you just weren't able to figure them out as you played?
No, yeah, those guys don't have very many demos out of them. I believe they actually play with someone different online, Jules or something like that. Yeah. So he didn't actually make it here, and because of that, he was like a star fragger for them. So obviously, I knew they'd switch up like a lot of the things they do in order to get those frags to make up for him. So yeah, there's not much preparing we could have done for them.
But that was a curveball then when Joel's wasn't able to attend.
Yeah, I actually would have preferred it if he did come. Yeah.
Yeah, you probably would have been a bit more prepared. Moving on to the second map, you started off with a pretty rough CT half. Any particular reason why that was?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we started up like 6-0, and then they won like 7 rounds straight or something crazy like that. Again, there was like weird communication errors on a couple rounds, and we just kept giving them picks. They were running this like slow default, and we kind of were just not showing them enough respect, maybe pushing into them too much. Yeah, T-side, we kind of buckled down, played our game, and closed it out. Yeah,
so was it a case of them adapting? Because, again, you got off to a rough start in the CT half overall, but at the very start, yeah, you went up 6 rounds. And so was it then that they adapted and then you kind of couldn't fight back against what they were doing?
I don't think they necessarily adapted. They just kept getting mid-control late. And I'm not really sure what our problem was. We kept on, like, giving up weird picks. We tried to counter it by playing like 1-3-1 when they started doing that. That didn't work, so we went back to our default setup. That didn't work. We just basically kept on giving them picks, and they were doing a great job with the picks that they got. They were doing a really good job of like faking areas and going to weaker areas.
And final question then, going on from here, is it, well, what are you going to be doing in the break leading up to your next match? Is it going to be, you know, going back to the drawing board, thinking about who could we potentially be playing? How are we going to correct the mistakes that we made?
Yeah, actually, I definitely want to stick around and watch the Aussies play Dignitas, see who we play. That's the benefit of playing the early match is you get to watch the person that you're going to be playing. Unfortunately, their benefit is they get to be warmed up, so it doesn't matter. Each person gets something.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Sean. Best of luck in the matches coming up, and great performance in the first game eventually. So I think we're going to go back over to the desk, and so Sodakist and the guys are going to take it away.
All right, guys, thank you so much, Paula. Thank you so much, Sean Gears. And yeah, interesting points to make. They did start very well on that cash side, and then, or the CT side, 6-0 up, and it crumbled. 7 rounds unanswered that went against them. And again, you talked a little bit about it. Yanko, I almost said Yannick again. I'm sorry, but Yanko, just that Cloud9 looked to not be playing at their potential, and that could have cost them.
I feel that like after they were up 6-0 on cash, they got a bit too relaxed. Like the first round, ROCCAT won was a 3v5 round on B side. Then the next round, it was actually like Sean mentioned, maybe some communication issues because Shroud was supposed to throw a Molo on boost spot and he didn't, and Freak got picked by Stonde with an op because of it. So they lose that round. It forces him to go on an eco, and me and Natu were talking about like that's how things start going wrong for you. I mean, if it were another team, maybe, you know, a stronger team, I think that could have cost Cloud9 a map, and that's something they need to look. I mean, they need to fix that before their next game.
Anders, any thoughts from you on that and just Cloud9 in general?
There were so many cool details. I mean, on cash, but there were on Dust 2 as well. There were so many small things. We sort of highlighted that 1v2 from nothing when he ended up defusing the bomb in that A-bomb site. I mean, there were some mistakes you could always point to. You know, why didn't the Finnish players go more aggressive? You know, they had 2 people left alive. But it actually was like a really nice detail. He threw away that AK, picked up the AWP, and as soon as he fires a shot, they're going to be instantly a little bit worried that they peek into an AWP, and then he just goes defuse instantly. I think he knew that just the sound of the AWP was the only thing that was going to buy him time for it.
That's actually a really interesting point, really fine detail. And speaking of nothing, we actually do have a highlight clip of him over the first 2 games we're going to take a look at right now. So we can actually take a peek at some of this. There's obviously starting out on Dust 2, huge playing cat. That actually came off the back of Sean Gears getting an aggressive peek with a scout shot that gave him the confidence, but this is the one you were talking about.
Yeah, this is where he just fires. I mean, he just fires a shot and instantly goes for it. He instantly runs.
Yeah, and this is, again, him and B. He had the spray down here with the P90, and he was smart not to chase the ace because Sean actually went down. This was the second one off the back of a flash. He waits, they walk into his crosshair, and there it is. There's the troll face. That was beautiful.
He gets like
finally someone maybe might
smile.
Get more memes than me. I can finally relax. That'll be, I can breathe easy again.
Yet.
Okay, well,
You're
we'll see.
But there was a lot of just weird situations from Cloud9 where comes into mind. I think it was that specific round actually that we just saw where nothing got those kills. When Sunny was the last guy alive, he made a 1-on-5 into a 1-on-2 or something like that. Yeah. Just because like there was a situation where Skadoodle was told to just shoulder peek, but he full-on peeked and died. So that's like, you know, what's going on there? So when things like that start picking up and happening time after time, it's going to get into your head, and you're going to crumble at that point. So just a lot of weird situations from Cloud9.
I mean, Sean mentioned in the interview just now that they were having some communication issues. I'd say, I mean, maybe it's like you said, it's the early game, so, you know, just waking up and everything. They were a little bit more quiet than you normally see them. Yeah. Even when they were winning in the beginning, they were just a little bit more relaxed.
So, yeah, they were just like out of steam, sort of, felt like.
Yeah, and it was interesting because we were in here listening, and you were saying, like, oh, one of these games, I just want to sit here and listen to Cloud9 and watch them play so we can hear their communication. But it was the Finnish side that was really amped up after each and every round.
Yeah. And I mean, it'd be great. I mean, Nacho, you could understand what they were saying. The rest of us, I think I only know 3 words in Finnish now. It's like 1, 2, 3. So, and even that helps. It's crazy.
Literally 3 then.
It makes a difference. Like when they on Dust 2, some of the time they'd run out and you can hear them calling. They'd be like, you know, like yksi, kaksi, kolme. They'd actually say how many people were there, and if they get it wrong, because we can see on the overview, if they get the wrong count, it has a huge impact on the round.
Yeah, it would be surprising. I guess would be that on cash, a map that into a lot of structure when you're playing on T side, and then picking up 7 rounds was a surprise to me. And the manner that they did it was they were calling things on the fly. Someone's going to say, I'm going to smoke this, I'm going to Molotov this, I'm going to flash this. And when you look at the big picture, it actually looked like a team doing it. So
and well, it looked like a team, but there was one player that stood out in particular. Perhaps if they had a 10th cloud in the sky, it wouldn't have been so sunny, but he had some huge highlights throughout the 2 maps. Yeah, starting it off. Even, I mean, Dust 2, he was started off strong as well, but Cash, he was 22 frags, I think, leading the way at one point.
Before this match, I was talking about him as a player, that I've always been talking to him as well, that he needs to use this aim of ease to more of an effect, because he does use a lot of time on DMs, but just has not had the courage of playing in a manner where the skills that he has should be utilized.
I think he managed to show us during this particular match just how much he has to offer. This was a I think, a crazy performance from him. We were praising Nothing just now, but you actually had a point on Dust too to bring up about like the way he was holding headshot box in the middle. Like that almost gave, or it did actually kind of give the round up.
Yeah, that was like the pistol round, the second pistol round, where ROCCAT did a long fake and then went B with, I think, 3 guys with C4, and like Nothing was the guy behind headshot on B plat. Like he was the farthest player from A site, and when they called, like nobody called the bomb or anything. They just called 2 guys long, running or whatever, and he started moving just a little bit. He started moving from headshot, and he got caught. And like, yeah, C9 ended up winning the round, but in another scenario, they could have easily lost the round because of it. And it's something like that you should try. If you're a B player, you should pay attention to the calls by your teammates, because like, even if it was A and he got there like a second or 2 earlier, I don't think it would make much of a difference.
I think looking at it from the positive standpoint, from ROCCAT's standpoint, everyone that's been writing them off, you were saying immunity is going to be your dark horse. I think at this point, how ROCCAT was playing in this game, actually, you know, I can see them keeping a lot of trouble to both Dignitas and immunity for sure. Yeah. I mean, if they can keep this composure and be relaxed, not care too much, and just enjoy, they can be a threat.
Well, that's the thing we said leading into the preview for this group, is that, you know, we expected Cloud9 to be the team that would walk out of it. They were the favorite, and that we said Dignitas could take down Immunity, who qualified last time due to the Oceania region. We never really factored in the Finnish, you know, roster, ROCCAT, as to how they might play out in this. And if they play to that caliber, then yeah, we could actually see them, you know, upset Dignitas. We could see them upset Immunity very easily.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like, I think there's more chance for them to upset, of course, either Dignitas or Immunity than Cloud9, because you could see, like, on cash when they're not as comfortable, when C9 switched to their like T side, then they have their strats, executes, they're more structured, and ROCCAT couldn't cope with it. So I think Dignitas is not like as close as to prepared as Cloud9 is, so they would have a lot more chance against them.
Moving forward, if I'm Dignitas or Immunity, if I'm playing ROCCAT, I'm gonna
ban out Dust 2.
Yeah, I'm gonna veto Dust 2 for sure, because obviously that's a map that's gonna benefit a team that does not have as much structure. You can equalize the situation with individual skill.
But I just ran into Schneider outside, and he said everybody knows the Finns are really good at playing Dust 2. So it's
he's got a taste of that. I remember this year, actually, Copenhagen games, he was playing with Property, and they were like, yeah, what are we playing Dust 2 here? They got 16-5 in it, so
yeah, that's ridiculous.
Even in the qualifiers, they like had a 14-1 T-half against Reason and a 13-2 half against SK, which ended up being a 16-14 in the end, but still. So yeah, I think like all the other teams, Immunity, Dignitas, whoever, just banned us.
And
so, and it could be, it could be a problem for Immunity, since they prefer the classic maps as well. So it could get interesting if those two teams.
And that's one of the things that comes into play as well, because if you are going to ban out Dust 2, but it's a ban pick rather than ban, which is the older style the tournaments used to go with, then you have a risk of letting through a map you don't like to play. And if they then pick it, it's, you know, the lesser of two evils, perhaps. I mean, which do you factor to be better?
I know that's really hard to call, isn't it? I mean, I guess that depends on how deep their map pool is at that point. I mean, what do you? We know, ROCCAT.
They're not going to play Overpass. They're not going to play Inferno. So they're going to first ban. It's going to be Overpass.
All right, let's see if Dignitas and Immunity just heard you now. You just gave them all the information they need to know.
I'm just saying, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Sean was bringing up another point during the interview here. This what he called seesawing between the bomb sites. Actually, I was really impressed by how ROCCAT managed to play that, because they did. You know, they would attack long, they'd get in a fight early on, they'd trade evenly, but that's great if you're on the terrorist side. Then they'd make a call to run back into B, and they'd make it early and fast enough that actually really hard for Cloud9 to keep up. Yep. Not many teams succeed in doing that. I don't know if you guys were picking up on that too.
Yeah, how they would take control of long, like the C9 would call that the rest of the guys are long. They would rotate like CT and A site, and they would just immediately run straight all the way back. They would maybe throw a smoke to not allow C9 to get as much info, and they would get like in B side for free and win the round after that. It was good play from ROCCAT. I have to say, I predicted that it was going to be an easy game for C9, and they surely surprised me. Like, they put up a great fight.
And was there anyone? Oh, what is this? Wow. What are we getting thrown here?
Oh,
we've got the Australian fan base coming in. Of course, they're playing in the next game.
All right, let's give them space here.
Give them space.
Come on.
That's fine.
There we go. There we go.
Bear. All right, well, we'll get to them in a minute.
I should have like a Danish flag with me or something, right?
Danish flag, yeah, just blanket it over top of it and then be, That's right. It's a good thing you threw it to Yanko, because you might have just been like, Shaquille O'Neal didn't have it. I ain't touching it. But let's talk a little bit before we do get into that next game. And of course, we are going to get there. It is Dignitas versus Immunity, same thing, best of 3. But Skadoodle. moments he was there and moments he wasn't. He missed a few shots that we normally don't see him missing.
Also, Shroud.
True.
He was out the picture for the most part of it. The only time I started noticing was the second half of Cash. So basically, he was away from the occasion for 3 halves straight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just obviously they win the game, but the reason I bring it up is just kind of what you were saying, looking a little slow, and maybe it's a warm-up thing, first game in the morning, but if that's an issue going forward...
It definitely wasn't the Cloud9 we know, and I said as well that I predict it's going to be a skadoodle show. You could make a show of missed shots only from those 2 games, honestly.
I don't think he'd like that show very much.
Yeah, me neither.
Actually, maybe this is a really minor point, but something like a mentality that some of the NA teams have suffered from for a while, I think some of them still do, is this idea that they have really high highs but really low lows. When things are great, they're so loud, they're so explosive, and it's fun watching them. But when things start to go bad, they just can't pick it up again. I feel like I brought up this point that they weren't very hype, they weren't shouting a lot, but actually when things were going badly, even someone like Shroud or something, when they weren't doing so well, they weren't really complaining a lot. I mean, they don't have a lot of players left now that will start to yell or be really angry like that.
I feel I don't know about you, Natu, but when you're in those games, as a player and you're playing against a team that you're so confident that you're gonna beat, you have that feeling that no matter what's happening during the match, somehow we are gonna win this map. Even if they were supposed to lose Dust 2, I think they were always we're gonna win this somehow.
Yeah.
I think they needed as Sean said, they needed to have better communication. But I don't know, I feel they were relaxed through the whole game.
I think the sign of that is the fact that they never took a timeout, which they should have probably done on both maps, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we never saw either.
Especially on that first half of Cash, when it started slipping away from them, they should have timed out, but never did. So yeah, you got a good point there. I think it's a thing when you're the team that is expected to win, and you are the team that's you're thinking, okay, on the back of your head, no matter what's happening, you're thinking we're gonna climb back, we're gonna win this.
Well, I think that pretty much covers everything. That's a great point that they are, confident at least to get into it. They're sitting in the winners match, Cloud9. Of course, ROCCAT, they moved down to, unfortunately, the bottom of the bracket, but they don't know who yet they're playing either side because we still have Immunity and Dignitas coming up. We will, I guess we can talk a little bit about it now. We will get back to it. What is going on?
What's going on? This is getting out of hand.
I don't know.
I thought we got rid of the immature people in London. We left them there, but apparently Semler's made his way to Stockholm.
I know. I think they're paying him a lot for this. First the koala, now the flag. What's next?
Apparently Semler's being sold to Australia now.
I don't understand.
We're gonna get
spiders here. Spiders on the desk. And
yeah.
Where's the alligators?
Snakes underneath.
Yeah.
Big blue earthworms.
There we
talking,
go.
mate.
Do we have any more Australian stereotypes?
I don't want to get too carried away, but I don't think we covered most of them. Kangaroo, did we say? I think we got there.
I think it was a kangaroo on that flag.
Yeah, well, next time he's going to just bounce through. He'll kangaroo through. Let's actually, before we do go to the break, let's preview that match just a little bit again. Immunity, they were in the last major, of course, went out in groups, but a decent group stage. They only lost by 3 rounds in the deciding matchup against G2, then Kingwin. But they don't have the OCE Qualifier, so they actually have to perform here. That's not the free kick that Renegades and they normally get. Both of those teams actually could come under threat here. And, of course, playing against Dignitas, a team that didn't make it last time, they're going to be hungry for it.
I feel like this is going to be a real interesting match to see. I feel that if Immunity did their homework, they're going to veto Overpass straight away because right now I feel that Dignitas wants to play Mirage and Overpass the most, and they adjust their veto process towards the team they're playing against. So they play a lot of maps, they vetoed a lot of maps, so I'm really curious to see which maps are we going to have right now.
Yeah, you make a good point there. Dignitas used to be, at least before Snyder stepped in, a pretty predictable team. You would watch a demo, 2 demos of them, you would know pretty much anything they do on a specific round. You could call that out really early on as well on specific little details. So that could something if Immunity has done their homework, and depending on Dignitas, the way their game is developing as well, that's going to be, I think that's going to be the difference makers here.
And yeah, and it's an interesting point you made about Overpass because that's where they pushed TSM in that semi-final, at London just 3 days ago, or 2 days ago. I don't know, I can't count that far back. It's so long ago. But as well, Schneider coming in, it is a bit of a curveball.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we were sort of, theorizing in London about this idea that they were going to try and cut him loose and let him be the 5th player. I heard him outside. He was picking up on individual Danish phrases, mostly things we can't say on air, sadly. But it was still good. Still shows that there's like some sort of like internal chemistry going on. But that's important too. That he doesn't feel like a complete outsider in the team, you know, because obviously the other 4 guys will have been more closely knit. You brought up Immunity and how they played at the major, and I feel like because they never made it to the Lanxess arena, their achievement in the group stage sort of got eclipsed a little bit, which is a bit of a shame. That happened actually to a bunch of teams. There were a lot of teams in the group stage that actually played super well, but we never really got to talk much about them because then, you know, the rest of the show sort of went on. For this particular show, for this particular game, I'm going to be looking at Ricky all the time.
Ricky's nuts. He was nuts at the major as well. Huge up. Eustillo is another player that actually comes to mind as well. But you know, how much does Ricky really bring to the table against this not so op happy right now Dignitas side? Because Pimp is now in the opposition, and is that really even a fair battle?
Yeah, that's so hard when I call it. Really, I'm actually intrigued to see in the long run how Pimp is going to fare with that op. From what I saw last week, and he was doing a pretty good job, but you know, at the same time, he's such a good rifler as well. So I'm not sure if that's really is it smart to move on that opping role.
Well, someone tweeted during London that like Dignitas should maybe just try and stick with the old NIP set where they played, where they played with 5 rifles. I feel he's a much better right now rifler than an opper because like being an opper, it's not just about raw aim. Like you can see a lot of people have good rounds with an op just based on aim. It's more about timings, positions, angles. Like you have 7 maps, you know, you're playing. So seeing like finding out what suits you the best. You have different style of oppers, more defensive one, more aggressive one. So I think like right now he's not in his best spot, but maybe going further, we'll see.
And it's one of those storylines we've got to keep an eye on. But that said, we will take a short break. We are going to come back with map 1. It is going to be Immunity versus Dignitas, and there are massive implications already in the qualifying stages.